Think about the habits you have that feel the most normal. We often assume that the greatest threat to our future is failure or some external hardship, but the real danger is often much quieter. It is the very comfort we spend our lives chasing. For most of human history, comfort was a sign of safety, a survival mechanism that kept our ancestors alive. But in a world engineered to eliminate every possible friction, that same instinct now limits you. To move past the theory, we need a strategy. Today, we are building your customized 7-day productive discomfort action plan. Grab a physical notebook and a pen, or open a blank digital document. By the end of this video, you will have a structured map to reintroduce the specific types of effort that drive growth. Escaping the comfort trap isn't about a sudden burst of motivation. It is about shifting from passive convenience to the active, scheduled pursuit of friction. We start with the comfort audit. Divide your document into 2 columns. Label the first, convenience, and the second, long-term cost. This is where we track the invisible trade, the moments where you buy ease at the expense of your own capability. In the first column, list 3 areas where you rely on an immediate out. This might be scrolling through a feed the moment you feel bored, or avoiding a difficult conversation to keep the peace. For every convenience, there is a trade-off. When we remove the friction of boredom or the tension of a hard talk, we also remove the opportunity to practice focus or emotional resilience. Now, fill out the second column. Map the specific unrealized potential or stagnating skill that is being sacrificed for each comfort. If the convenience is ordering delivery every night, the cost might be your physical health or the discipline of cooking. As you look at these costs, notice the resistance you feel when you think about changing them. Often, we stay with a comfort not because it makes us happy, but because the alternative involves a risk we aren't ready to take. When you see that avoiding a difficult conversation is actually about avoiding the risk of rejection, you realize that comfort is often just a mask for a fear of failure. By making these trade-offs visible on paper, the cost of staying the same becomes a concrete number you can no longer ignore. Step 2 is calibrating the discomfort compass. While comfort is a poor guide for growth, not all discomfort is useful. You need to distinguish between the friction that builds you up and the stress that breaks you down. Growth signals are the types of productive discomfort you should move toward. They feel like uncertainty, the awkwardness of being a beginner, or the mental fatigue of deep focus. Compare that to harmful stress. This feels like physical injury, chronic burnout, or a sense of deep psychological dread. Productive discomfort expands your world, while harmful stress shrinks it. The goal is to stay in the growth zone. Do not push into injury, but do not retreat just because a task makes you feel foolish or bruises your ego. That foolish feeling is usually just the sound of a new skill being formed. When you understand that awkwardness is an essential signal of progress, you stop viewing it as a reason to quit. Now we move to step 3, redesigning your morning ritual. Because the modern world eliminates friction by default, we have to manually inject it back into the start of the day to set a psychological baseline. Look at your morning. Select one specific convenience you usually rely on, something that makes the start of the day easy, and replace it with an act of intentional effort. This could be replacing a hot shower with a cold one, delaying your phone use for the first hour, or manually journaling your thoughts instead of scrolling through news. Write this chosen ritual at the very top of your 7-day plan. This is your non-negotiable anchor for the week. By voluntarily choosing friction over convenience first thing in the morning, you program your brain to handle the uncertainties of the day with more resilience. Step 4 is building the 7-day friction schedule. Overcoming the habit of comfort requires small, scheduled experiments rather than one-time bursts of willpower. You will pull from 3 categories: physical, intellectual, and social friction. Physical friction might be taking the stairs. Intellectual could be reading a book that challenges your current perspective. Social might be speaking up in a meeting where you'd normally stay silent. On your calendar, plot exactly 1 voluntary growth challenge for each day of the upcoming week. Be specific about what you will do and when. A common mistake is overcommitting. Don't try to change every habit at once. Pick small, sustainable points of friction that you can actually complete. Consistency is what prevents a relapse into passive comfort. Scheduling these experiments turns growth from a vague goal into a daily requirement. You now have a complete, customized 7-day productive discomfort action plan. You have identified the true cost of your current comforts, established a high-effort morning ritual, and scheduled a week of intentional challenges. Comfort is a quiet trap because it feels reasonable. It's the place where we stop questioning ourselves. Starting tomorrow, use this plan to step out of the familiar and see what happens when you prioritize growth over ease. If this helped you reevaluate your routine, subscribe to Ultimate Reality for more insights into the hidden truths of everyday life. Real change begins when you decide that the cost of staying the same is simply too high.